special in-person show. Typically, we all hang out on Twitter Spaces, but everyone's in town for, I don't know, maybe holidays. I'm not really sure why people are here. We're going to take advantage, okay? So we're going to do a special artist dump. We're not going to talk all the news today. We're going to talk about all the deeper conversations we end up fighting about every single show, since that's a little bit more fun than just saying, here's the release that came out, this came out, etc. So maybe first things first to start off, since we do have some people on the panel here. Monster Mike, how are you? Why are you in town? When are you going to Miami?
I'm good. I'm here for Thanksgiving, which was fun, and my dad's birthday. Going to Miami on Wednesday. Gonna be fun, staying in South Beach. Everything's happening there. Hope to see you all there.
I will say that, Monster Mike, we're such opposites in such ways because it's Thanksgiving right now, and it also was my dad's birthday, and I called him the day after and was like, "It was your birthday yesterday, right?" And he's like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Sorry about that." And he goes, "I understand, son. You're a terrible son." So I didn't celebrate either, which was nice.
We went out to dinner, but I only gave him his presents last night, which was like a week late.
You buy him presents?
I bought him some chocolate, some camel milk chocolate.
Okay, that's not bad.
And the Beeple book.
You bought him a Beeple book?
Yeah,
You're a jerk.
Really
you're trying to spray. You're making your dad like.
No, he
wow.
loves it. Yeah.
Okay, nice.
At least you bought your dad presents.
Yeah.
I get yelled at.
My dad's birthday was on Saturday. I didn't buy him anything.
Wow, all our dads are Sagittarius.
I know.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why we are the way we are.
I was gonna say. Wait. I thought when you get buy your dad stuff, he yells at you. He goes, "Why are you spending money on this, you idiot? I got everything I need. Don't buy me stuff." That's not what yours does?
That's just your dad.
Okay. All right. We're learning stuff. Okay. On to the next. Margaret, how are you? Back from, I don't know, when you get back from Berlin, it was a while ago.
Yeah, but I was in D.C. for a week.
Oh, nice.
Visiting family for the holiday. Happy to be back. Really.
Not going to Basel, though?
No.
Why not?
No. What's the point? I don't know.
What? No, what is the, Monster Mike, what is the point?
What's the point?
People, art.
But
beach.
we live in Los Angeles, so like
So
we
do
see
I.
all these people.
No, you don't.
It's to go to see the people that you don't get to see all the time.
Yeah, but they
Yeah.
always come here anyway. So I don't know.
Okay.
Also, flying's expensive.
Yeah, flying. I was gonna say, Monster Mike went to Dubai, and now he's just like, oh, go to Miami.
I mean,
next,
look,
go
I
whatever
went to
next,
Berlin
so.
3 times this year.
Okay, that's
I
pretty
think
hot. That's pretty cool.
I'm chilling on traveling for a bit.
Nice. Okay, so I haven't been to Berlin yet, and I went to Miami last year. It was a great time. It was fun. It is weird though, because this year, like, you know, this is a not festival for crypto people, and crypto people just keep taking over it. And this year, it's not even just like NFT people; it's now spreading to like all the ordinal Bitcoin MFers are like, yeah, we're taking over this time. So,
Wait, there's no art on ordinals.
no, not yet,
On
not
Bitcoin.
yet. We're just saving up so we can afford the actual transactions to be able to put it on chain. But so I don't know. I'm iffy on if I'm going to go yet. We're going to decide tonight here. Rosenbomb, you're going though?
I'm going. Bought my ticket last night.
That's what I like to hear. Okay, last minute.
Yeah, I paid double and got way worse flights than I would have 2 weeks ago.
Yes,
I don't know
awesome.
why I
Who's
didn't
watching
do it then.
Shava?
The guy behind the cords in the stream here, Jerry. He's my dog watcher.
I gotta say, this is such a ripoff though, because you know that he goes out of town. Jerry gets Shava, and then Shava does a tour of Venice 24/7. She walks up and down the street, and Jerry just holds her, and then every single girl comes over and goes, "Oh my God, can I pet her?" And she like has like a week of being like a celebrity. I mean, she's kind of a celebrity every week, but
I can't lie, because when we were in Marfa last, when Jerry had her last, I got her this little handy dandy. What do you call
AirTag?
it? AirTag, set a tracker. So, I'd be like, oh, cool, cool. She's at home. Every time she's at Jerry's house and Jerry lives, I'm like, all right, I have like this peace come over me. But then, I'd look at the clock and it's like 1 a.m. and I see it moving all over town.
Shava's at the bungalow.
Dude, take her home. Why is she out? She wants to go to bed. And then one day, I don't know, he met a girl or something because it didn't move for 2 days at some apartment in Marina. I'm like, dang, he's having a good old time.
Oh, my God.
But I talked to her, so I knew she was alive. I was like, all right, that works.
So Shava's gonna get another one of those. Gonna make a bunch of new friends soon.
Yes.
The stories she could
I
tell.
thought you bring her with you to the girls' apartment, Jerry.
Yeah,
That's
right when
That's the ticket to get in.
No, don't you understand? Right when Jerry drops the Shava, the girl stops talking to him. It's like, wait, where'd Shava go? Oh, I left her at home. And she's like, oh, never mind. I thought we were going to have.
Well, I got to say, even though we got to talk about art here, but there was one time we were hanging out at the IRL after party at Vibes Co. And Jerry was holding her and talking to some chick. And I came by. I just could tell that I hadn't seen her for a minute, so she was a little distressed. So I went over to her to say hi, and her eyes lit up and saw me, and the woman that Jerry was talking goes, wait. That's not your dog? What? Hi, how are you?
Yeah.
I'm like, no, it's Jerry's dog when I'm not around.
When he's not around. Okay, Shava's the people's dog. Okay, well, let's just dive right into some art, even though Shava is art here. So we've had a bunch of conversations online, and we fought, like, I swear to God, every single time we have any conversation, we end up fighting, I feel like, about the future of art and who's going to last in these different mediums. Both Margaret and Monster Mike, you're both artists working in new mediums, AI, VR, AR stuff. That's that's still a brand new world here, right? So we don't know who are going to be the stars that are going to last from this. We don't know what the mainstream acceptance is going to be around these genres. This Miami, there's going to be definitely people showing off. You know, definitely AI stuff's going to be there. Definitely AR, VR stuff's going to be there. And so we're going to see, like, I don't know, the acceptance of the mainstream art media around this stuff. So kind of curious, Monster Mike, you were just in Dubai. You were showing off some AR, VR. What's been the response so far?
Good. It's cool. A lot of people there have used a headset, which is less typical than here, where people are like, what is this? So they seem more technically advanced. They also have a larger culture, like their art culture is very young, where they really don't know what they're buying. They just buy stuff because it's expensive.
Totally different than us in LA. Totally. We have a long, mature art culture dating back for almost 100 years. Sorry, keep going.
Point taken. You're right. But like, they're really embracing digital art, which is pretty cool. Like right now, so the reason we were invited to be in that show was because there's this environmental festival happening right now called COP, which I forget what it stands for, but it's a huge thing. I feel like Bill Clinton is speaking at a thing. You know, it's like everybody goes there to talk about the environment. It's an environmental thing. And
Where they all fly their private jets too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah,
Anyways,
very ironic.
sorry.
But for some reason, there's this huge digital art wave and just traditional art with environmentalism in Dubai. I don't fully understand it, but it's kind of cool to see, and I'm learning more. So.
Ironically, because Margaret sent me an article today actually talking about the environmental impact of AI and how back in the day, if you don't remember, NFT, Bitcoin, everything it's killing the environment. A single transaction is a pool of water.
That article just came out.
Yeah. That's the new hot term they're using. Yeah. But and now we've moved over into saying, hey, AI is going to be bad for the environment, and we're going to try and make artists and different people feel bad for ruining the environment versus, I don't know, companies and corporations and all, you know. So yeah, kind of curious. Yeah, Margaret,
like everything is bad for the environment. You know?
Yeah. No, I mean it's well. Also,
so let's just kill the
important distinction.
Thank you. Finally,
I think, is that study specifically relates to training your own models.
Yes. Okay.
So it is not text to image on Midjourney, Dolly, you know, any of those guys. You know, I heard recently that also like a Chat GPT generation uses like 7 bathtubs of water or something like that. Something where it was like, you could tell people are trying to be controversial. They're trying to be edgy. And, you know, when you're speaking about energy consumption, like on a kind of consumer level, like it's always the same deal. It's like, oh, you know, like bike to work or like, you know, recycle. Like it's always going to fall on the individual and not the corporation that we were just talking about. And at the same time, it's like as long as there is technological development, there's going to be environmental strains. It's just impossible to avoid. I mean, you have an iPhone, you use online banking, you use cloud storage. I mean, all those things are huge energy sucks. I'm sick of like the virtue signaling of environmentalism, like at the cost of like, you know, artists that are just trying to make art, you know what I mean? And like use new technologies and stuff.
But it is tough because like, you see this happen a lot. It's funny because like Dubai, a bunch of other markets, they always want to attach it to some like good cause while they're spending a bunch with art. And you see this all the time, these giant initiatives. Here's a piece of art, but the art is really talking about how we save the environment. It's really talking about how we stop human trafficking. It's really about this. Even if you don't see that communicated in the art, it's just if I'm a rich person, I'm feeling a lot better for myself. If someone talks about, well, you paid a lot for this piece. Yes, and also it helps the environment too. Like, I mean, I don't want to just get into the Rafiq trashing, but you know, Rafiq's the one speaking at...
He's at COP right now.
Of course he is. Well, I watched him.
Literally, is that COP?
I watched his speech at where was it at? Like, is it
the World Economic?
Yeah,
Forum?
World Economic Forum in front of like 3 people, and talking a lot about here's all the different stuff we focused on for each one of our projects to help in some different way, which people love to like attach themselves to. But I kind of feel like it's virtue signaling too. But at the same time, sometimes you got a virtue signal to get the rich people to buy something, and then we're good.
It's just a story, right? It's just what you're saying. Like, I was at a dinner at the Dubai thing, and this gallery lady was explaining the art she had for sale, and she was just, you know, saying, oh, it was inspired by this and that. I was like, how? You know, like, she took a photo of a pool. She was like, oh, it's good for the environment. No, it's a photo of a pool. I don't know. It's very funny.
Well, I'm saying you don't know how well that's actually a good thing to actually discuss here, okay? Inspiration isn't always literal, okay? It doesn't have to be a thing of like, oh, I say I'm inspired by this, and like, I can't see it in the art. We don't always have to have it. Like, if you can't see the inspiration I put into something, that's not my job to like make it more obvious. Inspiration can come from anywhere.
Well, and I also talked about, I think it was last week or something, that, you know, art can be from something but be about something else. Like like where the art is from is not necessarily what it's about. Like the inspiration, I guess.
I mean, for me, it comes down to honesty, right? It's super easy to make something cool and then be like, it's about this because it sounds cool. And that happens all the time, and it's fine. But what bugs me is like you see a piece of art and you know exactly how it was made. You know what functions they use in whatever program.
You know how
like,
every art piece is made?
No.
Oh.
I'm saying this is the... Yes. No.
I was about to...
You're about to jump out of your
Yes.
chair.
Yeah.
No, like there's certain... I'm saying the thing that bugs me most is when there's a piece of art and it's like I can see how they made it, and I can see that what they're saying has nothing to do with the process. And so they're just lying.
No, that's
But
my
why
point.
does it have to do with? why
Yes,
does it
those
have to do
two
with
things
the
can be
process?
divorced.
If you say it has to do with the process, it has to
okay.
do with the process.
Okay.
I'm just advocating for honesty.
Well, I'm saying
That's all.
that's what I'm saying. No, I'm going to advocate for people's brains work differently than yours, and sometimes there's going to be different
Absolutely.
pathways to get to something.
I'm describing a particular type of art.
Now I know why I'm in the middle.
Who are you
What type
thinking
of
of
art?
in your head?
You do.
Yeah, name someone. Name it. Name names.
Okay, I'm good. Rafiq. Okay.
God dang it. Okay, we need new names. We need new name. Okay, like so.
He's like my favorite to dislike. You know.
Yeah, I mean, no. You're just.
His
I tell you, you're just
face.
hopping on the Jerry Saltz train. We know what you're doing.
His
Okay.
face with his little chubby cheeks.
Okay. Now, whoa. Now you're getting into now physical appearance. No. Never good. Okay.
Just a little guy with his.
Oh, now you're. Oh, now
black
you're.
outfits.
Now it's about how tall you are. What makes you a better artist? Is that what we're going into?
You need to be at least 6 foot to be a good artist.
No, that is
Wow.
ridiculous
Facts.
here. Ridiculous here.
Wow.
No, I mean, okay, so when you put something like I will disagree with this, right? I don't want to talk Rafiq every show. We do it every show. It's your
You
fault.
brought him up.
It's your fault. No.
did.
I didn't mean to bring him up.
You brought him up like minute 1.
Yeah, well, okay, it was my fault that time. No, I will say, like, whenever you have a large team of people working behind something, right? So Rafiq, RAS it's 30 people, I
Have you
believe.
seen he's getting flack?
For
Why?
what?
There are
For the
people
team?
who are like, "You didn't do the art, did you?" And he's
Oh
like,
my
"No, I
God.
had art."
That's
And
a
people are
very
like,
old
Oh,
conversation.
that
That's
is-
been happening a
that's-
long time.
I know. I
Oh
love
my
it.
God.
It's great.
Oh, you love going to debates that were happening in the 20s? Like, that's what we
Yes.
want to
Oh,
do?
Jesus.
Let's bring him up again. Let's
Yeah.
beat a dead horse.
You know, that totally killed Damien Hirst's career, right? That totally he's now broken on the street, so
think-
let's go with that one.
You think Rafiq is at the level of Damien Hirst?
What do you mean at the level? Do I think we're no? If we look
The
at
potential
okay, let's
to be,
let's.
I'm actually
global
curious though.
superstar?
Is he doing any coding, or is he just the inspiration behind the piece?
I don't think he does the coding, any of the coding.
There
I
are
do
a
think
lot
he's
of artists that work like that.
yeah.
Right.
A lot.
It's
I'm
more
just-
of a figurehead position.
Well, no, still
More of acting, as Beacon was sharing.
no, not
prior
acting.
to the
There
stream.
are lots of people who, okay, if I work at a tech company, I can be a CEO of CEO of the company. I don't write any of the code, but I am so crucial to figuring out how this thing moves forward.
Absolutely.
You don't always need all the technical people to say, I know how every single
That's why
thing
you have
works
an
down to the
entire
bottom.
board because not everyone can do all the things.
Yeah, okay, no big deal having a board. A board's a good thing sometimes, right? You can make bigger, more ambitious projects, right?
Yeah.
Okay, if you look at Damien, though, versus Rafiq, Damien is doing, right, like, some large physical stuff, right? Like, I mean, there's digital stuff too, but he's got a whole team making physical things and there's inspiration, et cetera, installations, blah, blah, blah. Rafiq is employing a bunch of different people that weren't typically employed by artists. He has a chief data scientist, right?
Yeah.
That is pretty interesting. And I kind of look at, if I look at Damien versus Rafiq, for me, well, Damien might have more interesting aesthetics or that are like, well, they're kind of just, whatever. The shark and formaldehyde and like, 1,000 pills on a wall. They're in the culture, so they're appealing to me, I think, deeper
Yeah.
that way. But Rafiq, what it's actually doing when I read about it, it's much deeper and more interesting to go into. It's going to take me 4 hours to learn about exactly
it's
what
deeper and
Rafiq
more
did.
interesting because it's technical and he's
Yeah.
using computer to do research, but it's no different than one of Damien Hirst's person researching color or fabrics or canvases, right? I mean,
think it's a bit different.
It's different. It's not as technical.
Well, no, the difference is that before, a lot of people, there are people who are doing researching on color for a long, long time. People who dedicated their life to the study of color theory. This whole movement's about it. This new study of saying, how do we take data, how do we visualize it in different interesting aesthetic ways and mix it up? That is a new field, at least, right? Someone saying, I'm going to obsessively study on color theory. I'm like, cool. So have people throughout
but he's
history.
asking somebody else to do it. Is what?
Is he? No. He might have people that are helping him explore it himself because he's not the technical side. But still, he's not just saying you guys figure out what to do with it and come back and I'll arrange it. There's definitely an interplay between
Exactly.
how the data is visualized, what thing we're exploring.
Okay, so I honestly like Rafiq.
No, you don't.
I do. I honestly do.
Don't
He's
lie.
really helped me understand a modern aesthetic. For real, where it's complexity, it's colorful, it's Instagram art. And I'm not like, that's what it is. And I think it's valid because it's popular and people like it, people share it.
Well, it's the only place that screens also exist right now, like to view art mostly.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is like, the story is misaligned from the output. That's all. But I think the output, but I also see the devil's advocate of he cannot just talk about the output for what it is visually and aesthetically, because that's not interesting to people, and he needs to just spin a yarn in order to get people interested.
But even then, if you go back, let's go back in the day. We got the earliest abstract expressionists, and you're like, what the hell is this? My kid could have done that. And then you actually start talking, and they go, well, what's behind this? There is a lot of technical reason behind everything, right?
Not always.
I would say more conceptual than technical.
Yeah.
Well, I would say early on, every person who's one of the early famous abstract expressionists at one point was doing something that wasn't abstract, right? And then moved into it based off of being part of a movement and studying and pushing one particular aesthetic to an nth
Which
degree.
was prompted
That's not
by
technical.
philosophical ideas.
Yeah, that's
Sure.
conceptual.
But still, it's like you're. I'm saying they are. It's conceptual, but it's still technical. All early is technical. They're all technical.
The technical worked with the philosophical because in removing any kind of particularly figurative or recognizable forms and shapes, they were using that as a commentary on the sort of insanity and sort of feeling of being lost that they felt out, post-war.
But even then, what happened to all those artists? They ended up pushing some technique, some technical side very far to achieve what they're doing, right? We can't even redo Barnett Newman's again because they're so, like, whatever Barnett did was so different and wild and his technique was so exacting, we can't replicate it, right? So that's like, there is...
Until now.
Until we have AI, right? But my point is that sometimes when you go into these new mediums, right, someone needs to be focusing on just the technical stuff. Because how do we push it forward? You both work in AI and then AR, right? Someone could say like, oh, your art's not that good, so you're now moving into fancy new mediums to do that. Oh, VR, that's a gimmick, right? That is something that someone's going to say. And they're going to say, you're trying to wow me with some new technology versus actually having art that is emotionally resonant.
Yeah,
It is emotionally resonant.
I
No,
mean,
okay,
I
to
don't
you?
know. I don't.
People cry.
I don't really care if people find my work emotionally resonant. It just so happens that they do, which is really cool. But for me, it's more taking advantage of the fact that, like, and I know we've talked about this before, but in such an early stage of this technology, that it will not be possible to make work like this anymore. Like in 4 years, because the technology will be so good. It's like early computer art. You could replicate it, but those
Can't
artists.
you say go back to 3 years ago when your outputs weren't quite as good?
I mean, you can, but it's also like
so smart,
making
they
it
should be
now
able
too. It's like, and with the blockchain, it's like, oh, this was made in 2023 before Midjourney became an all-seeing eye that basically created renders of our retinas, like things, whatever.
But this also actually brings up, it does bring up an interesting question because it's about this problem of we don't own all the tools we use anymore. And we're seeing this before where if I'm an artist and I'm like, stretching my own canvas and then mixing my own colors and paint, cool, I can maybe recreate something again. If you are using something like a Midjourney, when they make an update, you can't redo that anymore. Now I could own my own model and stop training.
Let alone just with the version. Like AI in itself, you cannot replicate the same image through a prompt the same time. It's very, very, very challenging. It will not always. It would
I'm
never
willing
work.
to bet that as that technology advances, though, our eye and what we appreciate, what we're looking for, and we're striving to create is going to be way beyond what's being made now. So we're going to be like, I don't know. I have a feeling that we're going to grow with the
Cartagena
tech.
had a really good article this morning where he talked about it in relation to photography and how. Somebody replied saying like, oh, is this just changing the way that like people respond aesthetically to work? And I think, yeah, but is that a bad thing? I mean, it's happened over the course of history dozens of times. And I think also if you're going to critique something, you better have spent some time using it, trying it out, and seeing what it's really all about. And I think, at least personally, there's a lot of photographers out there that just will not try it because they think it's dumb and they think it's gonna, make their photographs like less, valuable or interesting or what have you. But that's also assuming that photographs were all that interesting to begin with. So.
Ooh.
Well, I think it does relate like to a lot of like art stuff. Like, and there's kind of like two different debates, and I totally get the sentiment you're saying. If the tools are going to keep getting better and better for AI or VR or whatever, why not just wait till the tools are better, then we have better art? That's not how things actually go.
No,
though.
it's
We
not.
don't get better art as the tools get better and better.
You get it as people are using them when they're not good.
Yeah.
And breaking them, trying to find the glitches, trying to find, you know, the uncanny nuances of these technologies.
Well, so here's a question. So take pixel art, digital art in general, right? It started out very pixelated, and then we go through all these graphics changes that we see in PlayStations and whatnot, in video games and everything else, till we get almost human-like replications. But then we go to the blockchain, and we have this digital art revolution. And the funniest thing in the world is that we actually are going back to the original pixelated versions to kind of restart this digital movement, which is pretty wild.
Well, so there's multiple reasons for that, right? One is this is a lot about the on-chainness, right?
Technology.
It's like autoglyphs, famously, they wanted to put on, you know, a much more complicated image. They can't fit it. They have to make it very simple and minimal. That kind of then harkens back to an earlier time in art. That's super cool. And we're like, oh, wow, we are starting history over. But as you're seeing, everyone is just pushing the tech further and further and further. And now we have pixel art. Now we have moving images.
But that is
now
why
we have
it
3D.
started over, because we have to re-push the.
Yeah.
But no, we had a limitation. We had a
Correct.
limitation out there that we then had to like re-struggle through. But the thing is this. Would you not agree that the earliest, you know, pixel art on blockchain that's actually on-chain is more valuable than some random stuff that came today?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
So why is it more valuable?
Because it was made at the nascence of it.
Yes, it's
Which is why people should be making AI art now, because of, you know, at the nascence of it all.
Because of that, in conjunction with it being interesting in its own right. Like autoglyphs is actually quite cool conceptually, artistically, and it was a pioneering project, right? I think you need both. There's a lot of people who did NFTs and they were the first, but they're terrible.
Sure.
And they have no value.
Of course. Yeah, of course.
And it's the same with ordinals, right? Like people who just got stuff on there. Who cares?
Well,
it's people who got stuff on there that's good.
Unless it's under 1,000.
Unless it's under 1,000.
We're going to let them
I don't know what that means.
personally think as time continues, people won't care. It'll be, is it under 1,000 and it looks good? Okay.
I would say, okay, so a couple things here, and I don't want to dive deep into an ordinal investing conversation. So the idea is that the first, when we say under 1,000, right, the first 1,000 pieces of art, ordinals art, right? There's number. They're all numbered in order, which is very interesting. We never said on the blockchain, number every single piece in order, right?
Isn't
if you
it
could say
automatically, like you can see the timestamp.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the same thing.
Well, yeah, you could, but just not as easily categorizable, right? You could do it. It's going to take us a lot more work.
That's
It's
what
the way
ordinal
the
theory
chain
is based on at its core.
Yeah.
So the thing though is
That's
that
why it's called ordinals.
those 1,000 though are so what's it called? Like it's so few. 1,000 is so small. I think right now, if we said these are the first 1,000 pieces of art, you know, on Ethereum, they probably have they have a premium, even if there is some shit art in there.
I don't know about that.
We haven't seen it.
Why are we
Well, no, I think this is.
so much
Well, no, here's. Well, this is. I think this is the difference. No. It's not. We are not from a full art collector community. This is from a collector community.
That's
and if you
true.
look at people who collect stuff, it goes, "What the hell? Why do you want that baseball card so bad? Do you like that player? Don't even know who they are. Why do you want it?
Yeah, but
First
that-
one.
Okay, but
Okay,
that
you know what? I might
will
start
have
to
a-
shift my perspective
Yeah.
to Mike's now.
No, we're on my side.
Well, because I'm just thinking in the antique world,
Yeah.
older
Yeah.
doesn't
Exactly.
always
agreed.
mean more valuable,
Yeah.
right?
Uh-huh.
And it can pertain to a lot of different things.
It's a Venn diagram. It needs
Well,
to be
and I
early
think
and look
now
good.
that you're bringing up the antique world, I'm thinking about what you said about the purpose and the intent, or like the kind of overall cultural significance of something. Because like think about, I don't know, like a really old sewing machine, but if it was not the sewing machine that like moved forward at home sewing, right? Like, you know,
It's not a
it
Union
wouldn't-
Singer,
it wouldn't-
1829.
Exactly. Had one of those.
You did really
Had
right
one.
now?
I have one right now.
Well, how are you guys so rich? Okay, sorry, keep going.
It's too
passed
sentimental.
down.
It's too sentimental.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's passed
Is
down.
it
from, like,
in a
my
carrying
great-
case or is it on a
same.
table?
You guys have carrying cases too.
Is it on
Sorry.
a carrying case or a table?
Carrying case.
Carrying case. Yeah.
Dang, you guys got the full collection. Okay, cool. Okay,
My grandma might have one with a table though.
okay nice.
Mine too.
I was so okay. The randomest
sew?
detour.
Yeah.
Did you make
My-
quotes?
So it's got the foot
my-
pedal.
Oh,
You
okay,
got to
my
foot
grandma's
pedal it,
made
right? You gotta,
quotes.
Oh, nice.
I was gonna say for a while
Wait,
there,
you
as an
want it?
insane person,
Okay,
I
I'll
was
give it to her.
paying only someone to repair all of my clothing on a Union special. It was costing me a fortune, but I wanted only change stitching on this one machine, and she was one girl in Portland who would do it for me. I had one pair of jeans repaired like
Were you
6
trying to
times.
sleep with her?
So
No.
rich.
I'm an incel. Okay, but
My great aunt and uncle were both tailors, and then one of them went blind.
Oh.
But he could continue to sew. So the guy who was blind didn't have a driver's license, but the other one did. So they would drive this little golf cart, and the blind guy would drive, and then the lady with the license would tell him to turn.
that doesn't sound safe, but that sounds super fun.
Pretty
Okay,
cool,
cool.
Oh
right?
my God.
Okay, so maybe to
How'd
keep
you get here?
maybe to
let's
keep
go
diving
to
in on
art.
this. No, so
Okay.
Oh, we're talking about antiques.
So no,
Yeah.
with early stuff though, there's this thing. It's about when you're part of the movement. I always bring it back to like a lot of early punk music. If you go back and you listen to it, There's people who have taken this genre and like perfected it, right? They've taken the Ramones sound and like maybe this is the best version of like this particular style of sound. It doesn't fucking matter. The ones that really matter are the ones that influence everyone else and were part of some sort of actual movement, some people around them. If a Clifford Still painting appeared today, no one would care, right? However, you look at it in context and you say, who is this crew? And you're like, oh shit, man, this is a whole crew of people. This makes sense. He's part of a movement. He's pushing history forward with a crew, and that's what makes it valuable.
Another thing I think we don't consider is the way in which certain movements or groups, genres, mediums can have resurgence in a new context in the future. I mean, a really banal example is like the way that some musicians are finding renewed fame or success because of TikTok and certain songs going viral for a new generation. And sometimes that happens with art as well, where people, they look back and they decide something is, relevant because of whatever has happened between when it was made and now. I would think we could argue that computer art is having that right now.
Yeah. Vera is one of the biggest innovators in all of digital art, right? Sorry. Yeah. Sorry, I couldn't know myself. But yeah, like you are right. Like we've had the Herbert W. Frank, Vera Molinar, multiple people
Charles
have been.
Recently.
Yeah, see, multiple people have been coming up actually saying, hey, wow, they actually were doing something at a interesting time. They didn't come out now and said, here's something amazing that they already did it back then, which is important. I guess my kind of theory is it's not about just being old. It's about being old in a scene of people, right? Were you part of a movement or not? Were you part of a community or not? Because like you can say I'm an artist in isolation, even if your art doesn't aesthetically look the same. I want to know about like, here's 7 artists that were all working together in different mediums, but they were fighting all the time and pushing each other, et cetera. And there's like some context of a movement that I can get behind. Because you want a story. Yeah, exactly.
But they still have to be good. Right? Like there's tons of people who have been working in Web3 art for a long time. And their stuff is not very good. I'm not going to name names.
Why not?
Because
just one name.
But like they're not the top players. They only have medium relevance because of their age and their wisdom, right? But like they're still limited by their own technical limitations.
Sure, but there's a couple things here. So first, we don't know who is going to be like the biggest influence later on. There's been so many, like same thing with like, bands, artists, musicians, like you're saying. Someone comes out, they're the small player in a crew, right? Yeah. And then 12 years later goes, yo, that's the actual one. That's influencing everyone. There's been multiple like musicians that have had cult insane fan bases that only develop right after they're goddamn retired.
What I'm saying is they never get to the highest echelon. They're limited in their upward mobility.
How?
Okay, name someone who you're talking about who was discovered way after the fact and became a superstar.
Now, if we're talking in art right now,
music, art, whatever.
Jeff Buckley.
Yeah, Jeff Buckley, there you go. Died tragic in a river.
I know, I love Jeff Buckley, but I would argue he's still not as known as like the Beatles.
Yeah, you're right. Jeff Buckley, who died at the tragic age of 27, is not as known as the Beatles. You are correct. Good job, Monster Mike. That you good.
But I would say there's a significant amount. But there's a significant amount of people who recognize Jeff Buckley for his.
Jeff Buckley is?
Yeah, you should be.
Bingo.
I mean, I might if you describe him or tell me a song.
We're gonna work on
name recognition.
I can't picture. Amazing cover of Hallelujah. He's
love that.
A lot of really great albums. Electric guitar, beautiful voice. He's the son of Tim Buckley.
Didn't he drown?
Wrote Buzz and Fly.
So
really tragic.
So
he's probably like it's you annoyingly talented. He'll make you want to quit if you're a musician.
What about Elliott Smith?
Yeah, what about Elliott Smith? Okay.
Again, I think like he's relevant, but what I'm saying is, if you're discovered after the fact, you have a ceiling on you that other artists don't.
Well, here's what I think happens.
That's all I'm saying.
Sure. Okay. Whatever. Here's what I think happens is that there are artists that will discover these artists, right? Yeah. Because they're in that niche. They're in that like whatever. They're hungry for the lesser known, and then they go on to become famous, right? So then because they're like, oh yeah, Elliott Smith and Jeff Buckley really influenced me. Then people are like, whoa, we need to go back and look at these people. And then they're like, holy shit, these artists influence so many amazing artists that are working today. So I think that's what we mean by like things having relevance way after the fact.
Totally. And
I think there's just there's different levels.
But what does it even matter?
Because Monster Mike only wants the top level. He just wants to be. If he's not James Turrell, Damien Hirst levels of money in 5 years, it's over. Yeah. Right? That's what you think?
No.
You're not
I
quitting?
will win.
Oh my God.
It's a
The
competition.
fact that you treat art like a competition is so sad, Monster Mike. It's so
Yeah.
sad.
It's a
It's
fact.
tragic.
Dude, you text
it's
me
tragic.
to do that.
It's
Don't
tragic.
lie.
It's no, I don't. I don't do that. Okay, don't talk about our. No, so actually, on the inspiration thing, we've seen it so many times with recent digital artists here. How many of the recent art releases? Oh, if you go to art blocks and you read through the inspiration of each one, I would say, and I'm just going to put a number out here. I think maybe 30 to 40% probably say it's based off of this other art. It's inspired by this art. We looked at this artist. I like what they were doing. How
Not
can I
even
make it
visual
generative?
art, also writing, music. Like, yeah, I mean, I think.
Well, generative art for sure. And at least when art blocks first started getting going, even the curated pieces. I mean, I'd say it's way higher than 30%. You can find
Yeah.
almost identical examples somewhere. Whether they did a whole, series of that aesthetic is one thing, but you could definitely point it to at least one piece where you can go, oh my gosh, it came from this collection.
But I think that happens a lot more in art, like in the traditional art world, than maybe we're
course.
aware of. And I think creating something inspired by something that's already been made is literally how art continues on. I don't think it's like necessarily a bad thing, which I don't think we're saying.
No, yeah.
No.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
not saying it's a bad thing. But.
Yeah. Well, I'm just more concerned. Like what we're really talking about, right, is who's going to last, who's going to be cared about, right? When time goes on, and what I'm positing, right, is Monster Mike's always saying there's this intangible good that's going to be. I don't believe in that. Right, I believe in the storytelling. I don't believe in the intangible good. No, I do not. No, I do not.
I do.
I believe that the collective consciousness of the universe can change, and what is intangibly good will be intangibly bad in 6 months. I think once the electromagnetic radiation of the Earth
Once the
flips,
poles
once the poles flip, everyone's going to say, "Literally, I think it's going to
We
happen."
like Nazi art now.
Right?
right?
No, man, well, no.
That's what you're saying.
First of all,
Vegans?
when you say
You're
Nazi art, what do you mean? First of
Oh
all,
my
remember,
God.
you do have to say it's like what is
Jerry, are you hearing
what
this?
is what is quote unquote Nazi art? I mean, you know that I did my
Swastikas.
No, that's not Nazi art. Those are symbols here, okay?
You're pro swastikas?
No, I'm not pro. Well, first of all, as a Buddhist, yes, but I'm not pro swastika. I'm pro the. Okay,
They're flipped.
Yeah, they're flipped.
What are they called if they're flipped?
Well, at the same time, we're going to talk about.
Oh, you don't know.
I actually don't know. I can't remember. What is it called? What is it called?
I don't know.
Son something.
There's a name
know
here.
too.
At the same time, you do know.
You're right,
Native
Xanis.
American culture,
He
too.
is an ape owner.
Hey,
Therefore-
stop, Xander, stop. I'm selling it. I'm selling it here. I'm saying you do know that I was forced to in school do my senior capstone project on. I did it on art instead of music because they were forcing us to do it about World War II, and I said I don't care about World War II music, and so I switched it and I did it on Nazi art.
That's fascinating.
But you know who the Nazi artist was? No, he wasn't a Nazi artist. Anselm Kiefer. Anselm Kiefer was talking about the tragedy of the Holocaust. Some of the most powerful works you've ever seen in person, and one of the darkest places, one of the darkest subjects ever to explore. And we call it Nazi art. Maybe it is Nazi art. It's an art directly reflecting on the tragedy of the Holocaust.
Can I read that?
So
Good
yeah,
spin
I'll find you my
there. That was a good
presentation.
spin. That was
Thank you.
really
Thank you.
good.
I got you. Okay, you didn't know I studied some art back in the day.
No, I remember.
No,
I remember the story of I had an assignment. I didn't do it. I did my own thing.
Yeah, I love
It was
teachers
like,
saying you
what
have to do
school did you go to? Like,
George Mason.
George Mason.
Yeah. For enough channel points, we're burning my degree on stream. If you don't know, I have a couple people who are saving up.
so sad.
Why is that sad?
That's sad.
That is so beautiful.
You worked to achieve something, and you're gonna burn it.
A George Mason
For
degree.
internet.
Wait,
Greatest degree.
whoa. Do you think that burning a degree somehow takes something away? You're so attached to the credential of some school
I'm
that you think it's
attached to
important.
physical goods.
That's
Are
silly.
you a hoarder?
I'm a huge hoarder. I literally wrote my college entry essay on being a pack rat.
Whoa.
Okay, we're learning a lot. Okay, right here.
And
Okay.
I got in.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of burning and destroying things. So I think that's a better way here. Okay.
Nice.
Okay, well, let's back to what we're talking about here, though, okay? Who is actually going to last is what I'm saying, okay? And so what I'm saying is this intangible good can change, right? What we're saying right now, I will
That's
keep
the
saying
point.
that
It
every...
can't.
No, yes, it can. Here's what I'll say why it can.
And it's not objective.
Monster Mike,
It
let me
can
finish, okay?
change.
Let me finish, okay? Every person who says, I can tell things are good, intangibly good or not, are heavily,
Not
heavily...
intangibly good.
Right? No.
Objectively
No,
good.
whatever word you're going to use. Objectively good, right?
Different.
Is so influenced by stuff. Even Monster Mike says, squiggles are actually good. If I would have shown him squiggles today without the context of the squiggle, he would have changed his mind. We are influenced. We cannot divorce ourselves from the influence we have of every person around us.
No.
Now,
You're-
when that
you're
influence changes,
misrepresenting the
people
word.
will flip on what they think is good and bad art. And what will matter? It will matter the story around who is making that art. Intangibleness will keep getting updated. Even music right now, we thought a lot of it was shitty. And then 10 years later, we're like, actually, I think it's actually pretty good. You guys were dumb. And we didn't
Here's
realize.
the thing. Exactly what you described is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You're not understanding what I'm saying.
Then
I
explain what
think
you're
Margaret
saying.
gets it.
I think you both are saying the same thing. Yeah.
There is objective good that will always be good. And it's a function of time if and when people become aware it's good. It's the people who change, not the truth.
There's
right?
no such thing as objective good.
There is objective good.
No,
there's
there's not.
objective truth.
No, there's not.
There is.
I don't think I agree with that.
There's
That's
not.
what Rosenbomb Bible,
change.
right?
Like,
Rosenbomb,
change.
bro, he says, he points to Rosenbomb and says the Bible, right?
Bible.
That's what he
Objective
did. That is
good.
how he's arguing with us.
That's
He
what
goes,
I'm saying.
Rosenbomb, the Bible.
Those qualities are present in art, and we as a society can learn to tune in.
Yeah,
or
but
tune
not everyone
out.
would agree that the Bible is good.
Yeah.
Many people.
Bingo.
What I'm saying is
Bingo.
there is good in it, and there is bad in it.
Oh, there's objective good in the Bible.
Yes.
What part?
Love thy neighbor.
Oh, terrible, dude. I have a neighbor who's a serial killer.
Why do you have a
Well, you
neighbor
should
that's a
def-
serial
So should I be loving them?
Well, the Bible, yes,
should
absolutely.
report-
Okay, I should be loving them. Okay, really? But why?
Doesn't mean you invite them over for dinner. Doesn't mean you invite them over for dinner. Doesn't mean you don't.
He's killing
Arrest
people.
him.
That's not a nut. What are you saying? I'm saying, like, so love thy neighbor. What if my neighbor is a pedophile? So to love him? No, I don't love him.
Yeah.
They're a pedophile. I want them dead.
No, you love all.
Oh, no, you love pedophiles. Do you hear that, chat? You hear that, chat? That's what. Get that on. Clip that.
Do you
can
love
be
clip that. Clip
angry,
that.
You can be angry at somebody, mad at somebody. You can discipline somebody.
let's move on.
You can even.
Okay, no. My point is this, though. Okay, we're still arguing on the objective good thing. Okay, we're never. Is it aesthetics?
No, it's truth.
Oh my god, dude. What is truth? Truth in art? You can just see the truth. That's not
It's
a thing.
power.
Power. Okay, no. Wait.
Yes.
What is power then? How do you see power in art? You can't.
You feel it.
You feel it. No, you feel it.
What's like a piece of art that's universally accepted as good art?
Exactly.
Like, where
The
everybody
Mona
is.
Lisa.
And that's what I'm saying. The Mona Lisa famously.
Statue of David.
Right, real
Yes.
quick. The Mona Lisa famously,
nuts.
right? No one gives a fuck about, right? Until it is stolen and there's a bunch of story around it.
people
No
liked
one.
it.
No.
People liked it.
No.
They
If
didn't
you
like
grab
it as much.
if
but
I
they
warped,
liked
if
it.
I wiped your brain, Monster Mike, and I wiped everyone's brain.
Have
They've
you
never
seen
heard of the Mona Lisa. Yes, I have.
in
We all go to
person?
see it. Of course, I've seen it in person. Of course. Okay,
Then
come
what are
on
you
now.
talking
It was
about?
terrible. Lame. Not that good. Fat
fingers.
fingers in the Mona Lisa. Doesn't look good.
Well, they
Oh my
changed
God.
her, you know
Her
that?
eyes are kind of following you.
They changed her.
Oh, really?
They gave her a makeover recently.
Okay, stop.
Did
You know
they-
why? You know why? Because everyone's
They-
saying, "Hey, the numbers
Yeah,
are
make
down."
They yassified her.
Maybe, yeah, maybe. Like, let's.
They gave her an Instagram makeover.
That's great.
Oh, I saw that.
No, I would say that if you put the Mona Lisa in front of a bunch of different people, right, a bunch of kids, a bunch of old people, and they had no context of what it was, actually, they wouldn't go, the truth, the beauty.
the
Unless I
ones-
tell in hours of stories. I see a line
The
of 1,000
ones
people.
with the clear pineal gland.
No,
They would
no.
feel it.
The only way people feel the Mona Lisa, the way you're saying it, is when you go into a room and there's 1 million people with this energy. It's the same thing. It's collective group consciousness. If you go to a concert
not
and everyone's
about-
buzzing, you're excited for the band. If one person's there, you're like their arms crossed, you're like, they're not that good. That's why we like the Mona Lisa. You go in there and it's buzzing
You're
in there.
describing there's followers and there's leaders. There are people who seek out the truth for themselves, and there's people who just take others' word for
Yeah,
it.
but the truth is not universal. The
is.
Mona Lisa is not universally
It's
a
an
beautiful,
absolute
amazing painting.
value.
And most people don't look to seek truth, though.
Exactly. And that's why Began's framework for judging good or bad, do people like it or not, is flawed.
No, I
Because
judge it
most
based off
people
what
don't
I
seek
like.
it.
I base it off what I like. Who cares? Who cares what others like? I base it off what hits me, and I think it's going to be different for you. Right? Not everyone who sees something. I think Anselm Kiefer pieces are incredibly emotional to me. And someone else can go, I've literally heard someone say, that's ash and soot, you idiot. That's a black canvas covered in, I'm like, you don't see, oh, wow. And I think there's
They're not
objective.
open to it.
Oh, yeah, they're not open to it. No, that's
But
just
you
different.
are open to the objective.
It's not about open. It's about what frame of reference and what context you have in your life. You can never
It's about-
divorce yourself
Okay.
from what you already know
Okay.
and look at stuff.
It's about
And you
getting
know
people
what?
to
Do
be
you know what
open.
affects frame of reference?
What?
Is education
Yes.
and
Yeah.
giving people a reason to understand why something is significant.
Exactly.
You know, if and that kind of goes back to what Began's saying is not everybody wants to read, you know, the wall text that explains why this is in this GD museum.
Yep.
You know, because if they did, maybe they would understand why it was good.
Yes.
But they don't because we all have free will.
Exactly.
That's
People
very
aren't
debatable.
thinking
But
that far. People read it and they stop reading because it doesn't make a difference to the next piece they see. It didn't change anything for me. Like I know a lot of people that just don't care and they think it's now it's
And
taking
those
too
people
much, too
just
much
hate
time
art,
to get through.
and that's fine.
Yeah,
Well,
or they
let's-
don't
You're
want to
allowed.
get like.
Okay, let's-
I'd use my
let's-
dad as somebody as an example. He doesn't hate art, but he has like no like aesthetic appreciation. He doesn't like nothing moves him.
Well, because none of us have had to like, you know, go to war or anything like that. I feel like
Yeah.
It's like we all are just like, the
he's focused
aesthetics.
on different things,
yeah.
right? Yeah, for
there's-
sure. But
There's let's dive into some conspiracy theories and how
Let's
they relate to
go.
art. Right? So look at food and what it does to people, right? I feel like food in America gives you a cloudy head a lot of the time. Makes you fat, gives you acne, because it's more processed. Even if it's organic, there's some residual stuff, you know, Monsanto, GMO seeds flying everywhere. If you go to Europe where there's more regulation, I feel like personally when I've traveled and I've eaten, I've felt a lot better. I felt more open, thinking better, clearer. And I think that relates to art too, right? In America, it's harder to connect with people because everyone's in a fog because of our world, because of our daily life. If you go somewhere else, it's a little bit easier because they're just more open to things.
I don't necessarily agree with that.
So the art, okay, well, almost done. So I think the art
She went to
that
Berlin
really
3 times this year, so she knows more about Europe than you. But keep going, Monster
So I
Mike.
think the art that really succeeds in America is what can really cut through. And it's a little bit gross and gruff, like Beeple comes to mind. His stuff is so shocking that it can cut through that fog and connect with people. Like, art is all about connecting with people, and I think it's indicative of, you know, the broader culture. Why are notes being opened up? The broader culture.
Don't mention that.
Sorry, can they not
That's
see
our
that?
producer.
Oh, sorry, Jerry. Like, the broader culture affects what is successful and what is not, and it has to do with things as subtle as food and people's mental health. Like, we have way more drugs here, more opioids, right? More obesity. All these things affect mental clarity. Everything is really, like, it's just about connecting with people. And if you're a civilization that can't think, can't focus, it's going to be hard to connect, and it's going to be hard to have good art rise, you know?
Well, you supply those same tactics and brainwash them to like a good art.
I mean, I think you did make some good points. I'm definitely with you on the Monsanto stuff, but I think this idea that Americans have about like Europe being more open-minded and like free thinking is like completely wrong. If anything, they actually, in a lot of ways, maybe not everything, but in many ways, they are way more narrow-minded on a lot of concepts and topics than we are, and that's inherent in the fabric of the foundation of our country and like the kind of cultural and populational makeup of our society. I mean, we have so much more diversity. There's so many more ideas being exchanged. Like there's yes, we have our own issues with, you know, whatever, but you'd be surprised. I've had a lot of conversations where I was like, oh, I thought you would be more progressive about this, and they were not.
What's funny, 'cause that's actually
Italian
exactly how I think
No,
about.
it's not Italian people. I mean, maybe yes, but it's also other people.
Well, even if you think about, like, I think like art from
call it
America
races.
versus art from Europe, right? There was such a stronger, longer art tradition in Europe for so long that when people, like, you know, come up in there, they've got hundreds of years of history on their back. And then a lot of American artists came out and they go, oh, don't give a fuck about the Italian Renaissance masters, right? I'm doing wild shit. Here's a urinal. It's a fountain. Gotcha.
Well,
We're taking
he
over.
was French,
Oh,
but-
damn it.
Bad example,
Damn it.
Deegan.
Sorry. I should have gone to Robert. Okay. But yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, but you know, people Americans have always been kind of like bold and like, you know, our art has always been like, I don't know what it's called, like not based on all traditions, which I think is one of the reasons why America is so powerful in art right now, because they are doing more open, free stuff. And a lot of European artists kept saying, and I'm continuing on the tradition.
In some
Exactly.
mediums. In some
Okay.
mediums. Not all mediums. No.
Like what mediums?
Not photography.
Man,
What do
Margaret
you mean
hates
by that?
photography.
I think that there's a lot more experimental photography happening outside of the United States than in
Nice.
the United States.
How do you experiment with photography? I feel like hasn't it been done? Ooh, bad take.
How do you experiment with art? Hasn't it been done?
No, it's not a bad take. I mean, there are limitations to the medium itself and the technical aspects, but you know, digital manipulation combined with photographic technique is also still photography if it's
Is it?
photo based. Yeah, I mean, so it depends on what
Isn't it mixed media?
It could be, but also there are. I mean, almost every single photographer is using manipulation, like post manipulation in some way.
I think they should be called mixed media artists.
It's called post photography. No, I'm joking.
A lot
No,
of
that's
a lot
AI.
of a lot of photographers. Actually, it's not. Post photography existed before AI.
Okay, nice.
And that was what I'm describing, which is there were photographers that would create stuff in camera, then they would ingest it into their computer. They would do digital manipulations, Photoshop retouching, collaging, digital collaging. All of that was considered post photography before AI.
Good point,
what,
Xanis.
But what I was saying is like what happens and what's, you know, talked about in contemporary photography in the United States looks nearly identical to the type of photography that was being made 50 years ago.
Gotcha. Well, I'm saying we can't have innovation in photography right now, though, right? Even right now, I'm not a photographer. Yes, we can.
But what?
We can have innovation in photography.
I love how you
Sure.
just said we can't.
We can. I said we
She
can't.
said no, and you said we can't.
So I meant to say can. Okay, we can have innovation. Okay, even right now, you don't think we can have innovation in
I
photography?
mean,
You think everything's been done?
well, here's the thing. I think
Yes.
photography has always asked the artists using this medium to be innovative,
Mm-hmm.
and whether or not those people step up to the plate is like kind of.
So even right now, let's
One
let's
thing I'm just going to be ignorant about photography for a moment. Like, how much can you do, right? There's like film, the grain is a little different.
What are you
the
talking
aperture,
about? How are
right?
you?
There's like 4
No,
parameters.
watch this. Watch
right?
this. I can innovate right now. Okay, first of all, let's just talk about a couple different innovations that have happened over the past recent. Okay, number one,
Black and
drones.
white.
Real quick,
Okay.
drones have changed. Right, a huge amount of what we have access to, what we can take pictures of. Right, you're seeing lots of people experiment now with like, boom, I can totally create
Nude
scenes
celebrities.
that were. No, listen to me. Okay,
By the pool.
Okay,
No,
no.
drones are changing the game.
No, drones are also.
for sure.
Also, our camera is freaking out down here. If we're gonna figure that out, producers. Okay, we'll see what's going on
This
here.
is art.
Yeah, this is art. Okay, cool. That camera's breaking. No big deal. Okay, so check it out. We have changed a couple things that have changed right now. We obviously have access to more cameras right now. But there was a photographic movement for a while of stopping and posting on stuff and trying to go to places and snap a quick shot here, snap a quick shot here. What's that famous photographer that used to like? He's kind of a jerk, maybe. He would just walk through New York and go snap, and then
There's
like
like
a lot
80
of
of
them.
those guys.
Yeah.
A lot of them, exactly, okay.
They still do that.
So that was
Bruce Cunningham,
So that was
probably.
so that was like that was at one point like kind of a revolution here. However, now we have way even more cameras. We're almost in a surveillance state. Yeah. What can we do with that information to start creating really interesting photographic projects? You can't stuff you couldn't do before. Some people have experimented with some like here's some surveillance footage mixed in.
Are people hacking into surveillance cameras?
Of course they are.
Yeah, people.
That's
I mean,
sick.
there have been projects made
I wanna
with.
see that.
There have been projects made with Google Street View images, with found images. Like, I mean, photography in itself, and the reason why I shit on it so hard is because I studied it for so long, and I think that the way people think about photography in general, especially in an institutional sense, is super close-minded when the medium itself actually lends for so much development and so much exploration and play. I mean, you have pinhole cameras, you have exposed double negatives, you have cyanotypes, you have photograms, you have Abelardo Morel, you should look this guy up. He turned these rooms into pinhole cameras, and the way that a pinhole camera works is that there's a tiny little hole, and there's photosensitive paper inside the box, and the image gets projected onto the box. So he basically turned these rooms in apartments in New York City into cameras.
Nice, yeah.
So I mean,
cool.
that's crazy, right? Like that, and that's super innovative and stuff like that. So I don't know. I just wish more people were pushing
Is it
it.
photography though? I feel like that's
Yeah.
sculpture and like.
Well, maybe it's a bit of both, and I think that's the cool part about photography as a medium is that it can be so many different things.
That's cool.
Rather than just
And I would say I think any person who's ever like saying like, is there any innovation left in this medium? If you're not in that medium, of course you don't think there's any left,
Exactly.
right? Every time you
Right.
enter into a medium, you start realizing, whoa, look at all the things we could do. Look at the things we could
Just
play with.
want to say I prefaced it by saying I'm ignorant.
Oh, and I agree.
He did.
There you go.
He did. Fair enough. And I think it's up to artists that want to be innovative, right? Like some don't. They want to just keep making their same, black and white film pictures and, print them on silver gelatin prints. And that's great. But that's not pushing the medium forward.
Totally.
At all.
Well, that's my point. I don't think anyone who is someone who's like saying, I'm going to take the best black and white photos and make beautiful prints, I don't think that person is going to be remembered in history. Right?
Well, not now. No, not now.
Forever.
Well, they were. I mean, there were.
No, they were, exactly.
Right,
If you were early enough, part of a movement.
Which is sort of what inspired my project, because I felt that way when I was learning about these color photographers in the mid-century that were going out exploring, like using these kind of personal cameras in really artful ways. And anyone that tries to do that now, like, you're just doing it for yourself,
Totally.
basically. You're not going to get a Guggenheim grant from a road trip project
Totally.
in 2023.
Yeah. I mean,
Do you think it's possible to use the lens of an eyeball as a camera? Like literally hook it up? Like photosensitive
Probably
we
one
can just
day.
replace.
Pretty close.
We're getting there. We're getting there.
Contact
he's got the
lenses.
method.
Got my glasses
No,
on.
not that. I mean, like literal take like a sheep eyeball.
Oh.
Like use it as a
No,
pinhole.
so far not yet.
Photosensitive paper on the back.
I don't think the material of an
But
eyeball
I could get my eye
replaced.
replaced though. I've been
Light
thinking
to
about
pass
that.
through.
I mean,
Well,
once you
for
fuse,
an
once you
an
fuse
image to be
chips in your
exposed
brain,
onto
probably
it.
everything's possible at that point.
No, but an
Which is
analog eyeball camera.
No, when we say that, okay. We got to talk to the scientists about
But then
this.
is it novelty, right? Then we get into what's novelty.
Yeah, it sounds like a
and
gimmick.
what's concept. Yeah.
Well, if it looks cool, it's new.
Oh, if it looks cool, it's new. That's it.
Bingo.
No, I don't believe that.
That's
right?
how it works.
No.
Yeah.
No.
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 Yeah.
No.
Something looks
So
cool.
you're just
Doesn't mean
then you're
it's
then you're a
new.
big Rafiq fan. We got
Yeah.
you, man. Number one.
Yay!
Everyone loves that.
Yay!
Got him.
Number one Rafik.
So
But on the
saying,
opposite side of that, though, isn't there people now that are using cameras to help people with blindness replace an eyeball? Is that
Sure,
is
exactly.
that
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Uh-huh.
RoboCop.
And that's what, yeah, I mean, Alejandro's text on his thread talks about how the invention of the camera has literally moved society forward in so many different arenas, you know, technologically, medically, like historically.
Think about telescopes. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm obsessed over them, you know.
You're obsessed over telescopes? I didn't
James
know that.
Webb.
Oh, the James
Oh,
Webb?
yeah.
The deep field
You guys think those are real photos? Cool.
My goodness.
I didn't say that.
He does. He
You
thinks they're
don't?
real. Of course I don't. Okay.
Did you see that?
Okay, real quick. I've asked this before. Okay. NASA, and I'll say it, and everyone in my chat already knows this because I'm the biggest anti-NASA fan in the
It's
entire
run
world.
by witches and warlocks.
No, it's not. It's not run by witches and warlocks.
That's a
It's a
quote.
streetwear clothing company. They don't do anything. All they do is sell T-shirts
Oh my God,
and
you're
watches
so
in
right.
Vans.
You're so right.
If you go to hypebeast.com and you search NASA, every 3 days you'll see another NASA collab. When was the last time NASA did anything interesting or
think-
cool? Never.
I know
All they do is make shoes and T-shirts. They're a scam company.
I know someone that
Edit
works
photographs.
at one of the NASA headquarters in Virginia, and she's doing a lot of archiving. So
Oh,
I would
yeah.
say they're maybe a historical society.
Maybe exactly. They're a historical
Yeah.
society. Okay, I just don't trust.
Did
them.
we land on the moon already?
Did you see that
know
clip
about
of Putin watching Google AI call out the moon landing as fake?
Oh, nice. No, I didn't see that. No.
Putin's like, yeah.
Yeah, another one. We won. We won
Pretty
here.
cool.
Okay.
It's pretty funny.
Yeah. I mean, so I guess what we're all circling around, I guess I'm trying to figure out, maybe we can even move it to the VR AI talk too, a little bit deeper, is like, okay, so we see the Gen R movement right now. It happened starting in, whatever you want to say, like the 40s technically, maybe 30s or something like that, if you want to like get down to,
Earlier.
you know.
60s, right?
20s.
No, well, 20s maybe. I mean, well,
Generative
who's
art?
the first generative, is Solowit the first generative artist?
mean-
I don't know. Right.
Have you heard about generative music and the history there?
Of course.
It's quite interesting.
Oh, of course.
Duchamp
Duchamp made generative music? I didn't know
was
that.
the first.
Is John
Oh, really?
Cage a generative musician?
I mean, yes, because he'd had a lot of randomness
Yeah.
in his piece, and that is the generative part. And
Yeah.
they're, playing with the I Ching, and these randomness was part of it here. You know what I mean? Brian Eno's like my favorite musician ever, and he's big in the generative early music scene. Was hanging out with all those guys, John Cage and crew and whatnot. But like generative music is that's the movement that I got into for art. That's why I got into all this. Was I was making quote unquote generative music with computers.
Let's hear it.
And the crazy part, I will. You're gonna fucking hate it. Oh my god, my stream has heard it. They get so mad when I get excited. Go, hey guys, let's listen to music I'm into, and they go, please, not this, please, because it is absolute gibberish. But one thing you saw back then with like all the generative music that I think is historical and important is they were part of a crew that was not just musicians.
Yeah.
All of them were mixed medium. It's poet with artist with every medium all mixed up. And so when you look at like what's good early generative music and what's not, it's like, whoa, Brian Eno's friends with John Cage. John Cage is friends with Rauschenberg. That's the crew. That's what makes it important because it was this crazy cross-mixing melt of people. Like other people, like one of my favorite other random musicians, Colin Nancaro. He's a weirdo who was writing Nancaro. I think it's Nancaro. He was composing player piano music. And he's like in his house, like in Arizona or Nevada or wherever, alone, writing insane music through a player piano that no one cared about, right? And then he died, and someone like discovered he got some other art show stuff. They discovered his old rolls, and they're like, "What the heck is this? It's insane!" I mean, we'll listen to it in a bit. It's amazing.
Okay.
No one cared because he wasn't in that crew. He's gonna wallow in obscurity while Brian Eno can still sell $5,000 record players. If you don't know, he sold a record players for $5,000. I'll try to get it, right? Because of who is the squad.
Exactly.
Right? I think that's
It's who
really.
you know.
It's not just who you know. It's not about like, ooh, I know this person I'm in. It's about who is your crew.
Yeah.
I want to know if you're a punk band. I want to know, are you actually in the scene? Oh,
Yeah.
wow, they're part of the Florida scene. They're part of the New York scene. Oh, wow, they're part of this movement. That's, in my personal opinion, what is making anything last long. Art Blocks is continuing on in the future so good because there's this crew. It's Hobbs with Snowfro, with Dimitri, pushing in different directions. That's what makes it. That's what's putting it in the history books. There's all these characters we can look at together and not alone.
I think you're only as successful as your peers in many ways. Like you want to be surrounded by people that you respect, and even if you don't make the same kind of art, you're at least kind of like all in the same sort of realm together.
Totally.
Because I think it makes everybody involved a better artist.
Totally. So what I'm suggesting is for all artists, if you really want to make your art career pop off, you have to find out who's your crew. You need to give it a hot, cool crew name. You know what I mean? And because remember, think about all the Wikipedia articles that talk about like what do they call it? I'm going to say this. My French is terrible, right? Wasn't it like, who is it? Like Les Fauves, like the wild beast.
Oh, Les Fauves.
Les Fauves. I find out about them. I'm like, they're called the wild beast. And then I see a Durain piece and I'm like,
Yeah.
he's a wild beast. This is sick as fuck. Like, how cool is that name?
Okay, we need a cool name.
Do you see what I'm saying? Okay, you hear about the 10, right? The 10,
The
like,
Grays.
and then you're just like, oh, the Grays,
the
I mean,
whites?
We're
The
starting
white.
to see some of that in Web3. You got like Tungsten DAO, which is they sponsor all their artists that are in that same vibe. They're all kind of growing up together. Generative art in itself.
You got Burrito DAO.
There's a trash art movement. Well, I don't think it's just DAOs too, but
Well, I mean,
there's
they
like
just-
that's a real
there's a
DAO.
glitch
DAO
art.
calls
some
themselves
cool
a DAO,
artists.
but it's really
Yeah.
yeah,
the
we need
artists
a
of the
movement
DAO.
name.
Exactly, but I'm saying the movements should not be. This is the problem. I think people think the movement's going to be generative art, AI art. No, it's going to be called. Who are those called? Those are called the Dirty Six. Everyone hated them. They were
Dirty
making
Six. They
insane
all sent
AI art,
dick pics
and they're
to
exactly.
everyone.
Some people who are pushing
That's
like
their
maybe.
calling card.
But I'm being serious. That it's not about like.
Genital warts.
No. It doesn't. It doesn't have to be that unified either. Is my point.
Well,
it
you know,
doesn't have to be like
they
one
all have
aesthetic.
A lot of
Floorballs.
people didn't act like a lot of these groups didn't actually give themselves their own name. They were
Yes.
given by
Exactly.
art critics.
Sure, exactly. By
So
your cherries.
we need to manipulate the system and have art critics in our pocket.
That's the good idea, okay?
Yes.
Or we could make fake critics
Exactly.
online that are critical of all the artists except for us.
Exactly. And
Right
they give us cool
then.
names, and they call everyone
Yes.
else the losers.
That's good stuff here,
They're
okay?
like, oh, he's a member of the loser group. He's
mean-
a member of the cool group.
I mean, I got to ask the actual history of it. I mean, Anonymous, he's the one that started calling Patrick Glitch God. Is that not? I think that is
Really?
true. Yeah, I think so. I'm pretty
Oh,
sure.
my.
Right? One of his top collectors says Glitch God, and then starts repeating it, and then hopefully other people repeat it, and that definitely.
I've never
helps.
called him that before.
Well, I don't call him that either, okay? You know,
You
he's
call them
like-
the digital disobedient now.
Yeah, digital disobedient. He's trying to change his thing. But
Call him
even
China number one
Big
fan.
patty whap.
But even then, like digital disobedient, you could say digital disobedience. That could be a crew. The art aesthetic could be totally
Oh, very
differently,
much so.
right? And then anyone's gonna say, "Okay, come on, what's
It's
that
not
face? What you don't like?
aesthetic
No, you don't. You're not part of
Corny.
it. You're out,
No, no,
Margaret.
no,
So
Margaret.
corny.
You're
It is
out.
not
You're out.
corny. It's
Okay,
good.
yeah.
Shut
No,
up. No,
Mar-
it's
Mar-
Digital
corny.
disobedient.
No, Margaret, we can fix it though, okay? Because there's
DD.
one quick hack, okay? Remember, just take it, put it in Latin, put it in French, and then you got a fancy French name, and then everyone's like, "We're the." I don't speak any of those languages.
Well-
but
Well, the reason why I brought
digital
up
disobedience.
Yeah.
the reason I brought up what I did is because I
Digital.
mean I really responded to the post-internet feminist artists that were working in like
That really
the
rolls off the tongue.
2015, 2018, 2019 vibes. And that's not necessarily a crew, but I think it's also interesting to see who was all separately working in similar ideas and now gets, kind of like put together and maybe introduced to one another through someone like a critic or a writer or curator. I don't know. I don't
Beacon,
know
that's
where
what
that thought
you
was
should
going.
be.
Oh, what? No, I'm an artist, bro.
No, you should be
Are
the
you?
writer critic.
You have not seen my art. It's amazing. It's beautiful. Okay.
Why haven't I
okay.
seen it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I take my art seriously. You guys
do
are
it
just
alone in
releasing
your
your art.
room?
I'm doing it alone in my room.
I'm not always
working on
releasing art.
You released some recently. Too fast.
Yeah, and then it was
My last piece of art I haven't released in 10 years. Okay, I'm
6
waiting. 10
months.
years is what I'm on. Okay, I'm waiting. I'm going longer.
Why don't you
okay,
just die and then release it?
that's part of the plan.
Okay.
So sad. Don't say that.
Shh, that's part of the plan. Okay, it's gonna be really good. It's gonna be
I
really
like
good here.
these jokes.
No, I mean like the critic.
Chat agrees.
The chat agree. Okay, yeah, exactly.
No,
Yeah, first
that's
have to-
with Beacon being a pedophile.
No, it's not. It's not us. Okay, no. Don't clip that. Okay. No, on there, like I'm totally with you on the whole idea of like critics, other people can be the one that's naming. It's always so cheesy. If you're like, we're known as the cool artist crew,
It
and
feels
you're
like,
like,
naming your own band
no,
or something.
no, name your own band. You do that
Yeah.
though. You name your own band.
Yeah, I know.
You don't go out and say, "Hey guys,
I know,
what are
but-
we called?"
Yeah.
But
And then they're like,
No, but I just think
Say
the key is it
something
has to be
offensive.
just generic, right? You want to be called like, yeah, the 10. That's good. That's
The
a hot
10.
name. You're like, who's the 10?
"Grays."
Great. Something
It's
that's
an
a little.
architecture
Does any
group.
art group do that though? Like self-proclaimed with a name?
Yeah,
it
Dadaists.
seems narcissist.
They call themselves. Yeah, artists are narcissists. What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Andy Warhol
Yeah, it's true.
What,
would get his wig haircut.
Are you a narcissist?
Oh, hugely.
No, real quick. I was
have
gonna
a
say.
pool,
Clip that.
and I label it Narcissa, and I stare at myself in the pool until I fall in like the flower.
I just have
That's the myth.
I have a wound with calling artists narcissists because as a self-portrait artist for a long time, I got called a narcissist a lot, and I resent that. I resent being called a narcissist simply
I would
because I
s-
make self-portraits.
I would actually fight that all artists are narcissists because by the act of saying, what are you going to do? I want to express myself. Because what do you want to do with your life? Everyone else, they want to work, provide a society. I want to show you what's in here. That feels a little
See,
narcissistic
a
to
lot
me.
of artists don't express themselves though.
What?
Well, no, that is true. I made that tweet the other day. Actually, I made that tweet the other day, right? That's why I put that joke out. I said that I have not, will not, will never be an expressionist, right? I
Oh,
may be
right,
abstract, right? There are two different sides of the coin, and some people think that the goal of art, right, is maybe to express yourself, and other people think it's to explore other things that are outside of yourself, right? And I think that is outside of expression. I think that's interesting. And
Both.
Well, no, it's not.
To
Some people.
reflect life, and the best way to do that is through yourself.
No, that's what you're saying. That's what you're saying.
it's a
Okay,
fact.
that's what you think it is. Okay,
It's a fact.
no, it is not. It's definitely not a fact.
It
Some of the
is.
best art has been people trying to divorce themselves entirely from the process.
But in
so much
doing
of the
that,
generative art movement
it's still
is
about
that.
them because
No,
it's
it is not.
defined by what they're doing.
Nope. Some people don't even put their name on the art because they're just purely exploring. That's what the point of it is. Why do people work under pseudonyms?
Well, there's many different reasons.
Because they didn't know they could be anonymous.
Yeah, that's yeah.
I didn't know I could be anonymous. Come on.
Okay,
Is that
so
from a TV show?
Yeah, Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Really?
Yeah.
I've seen all of it.
When
What
he
episode?
donates to the
Oh.
organization, and then
Yeah.
Ted tells everybody he's anonymous. He's like,
Yeah.
I didn't know I could be anonymous.
Much better.
okay, with
Good
that,
reference.
we actually did do an hour. This is
Wow.
pretty good. We
Nice.
we
for us.
got pretty much into the argument right away. Before we wrap up right now, okay. Before we wrap up here, you going to Art Basel, correct?
Oh yeah.
What are you doing there? You got a show or something?
I'm going there to hang out.
Oh, he's going there to do drugs. I know
I'm a
what's going on.
flaneur.
Yeah, okay.
Which was an art movement.
Okay, I didn't get that one. Margaret got it
Flaneur.
though. Okay, I'm gonna go look that up when I'm home. Anything else?
Margaret
Anything we
knows.
can buy from you?
It was the way you said it too.
Flaneur.
I'm a flaneur.
Yeah, if you want to buy a really expensive piece of art, it's in the Layla Heller Gallery in Dubai.
Okay,
and
cool.
You should buy it.
Cool.
And if not, you could buy a drawing for cheap.
There you go. I like that. Okay, go to Dubai or here's a drawing for
Oh,
cheap
actually,
here.
buy a Jeff. There's only one listed at 0.4.
I did saw Schwipto.
nice.
I saw Schwipto bought a Jeff
Schwipto
today.
bought
That's really
one
awesome.
for 0.5,
Congrats.
yeah.
I
Love
will
that.
say I keep my hand-drawn name tag you made me at Marfa.
Oh.
I saved it. It's a piece of art.
I've got your.
He's
I got
gonna sell it
the.
one
I got
day.
the
Can't
snap
wait to
bracelet
sell
from
it
you
when
still
you're
too.
Famous.
yeah, exactly. Oh, you know.
So it's all about. It's about holding it till
Nice.
they die.
Actually, I gotta bring back. Oh man, if you're going to Miami, you should buy a pack of snap bracelets, bro. That's such a good idea. We
Oh.
did that here. I bought white snap bracelets, and then artists were just drawing on them.
That's
it was
smart.
super great. It was
But I
super.
can't
Vegan, you have to
draw.
go.
Oh, okay, we'll see if I'm gonna buy tickets tonight. Maybe we'll see.
got
We'll
to.
see. I'm gonna stream it, and then if I lose my insanity, okay, we'll see. We'll see. Margaret, what's going on?
I last week released a project of text-to-image AI generated art exploring the genre of road trip photography called Road Trip. It's available to collect on expanded.art. You can pay in crypto or fiat, 125 euro. I think we've sold 18 so far.
Nice.
You transact in euro?
They're a German-based company.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
interesting.
was saying Expand. I'm loving all the content Expand is putting out
They're
too.
great.
Like,
We love
yeah,
Expanded.
yeah, it's great actually. Yeah, I didn't
love
realize
them.
before until I started noticing that you're working with them. And I'm like, they keep coming up. I keep reading articles. It's expanded again. So super awesome. Rosenbomb.
Yeah, man. Working here with IRL Alpha, bro. Trying to
Hell yeah.
advance the movement, create the shows, help put highlights and spotlights on the artists like you guys. So that's what I'm fully dedicated to right now, man.
Beautiful.
The dream.
So since it
Shava?
is
Shava to
and
pick up
Shava, of course,
girls for Jerry.
Now, since this is a Art Basel week, probably not doing a regular IRL Alpha show. We might do like a weird content creator meetup or something here, like something wacky. If I do
Nice.
stay here, we're going to do something very wacky. If we don't stay here, it'll be slightly less wacky. Yeah,
We'll have an Ordinals Are Dead show coming from Miami.
yes, Ordinals are dead in Miami too. Got to figure out all the details of that. But other than that, thank you everyone. This was fun. We'll see you soon. Maybe we'll see some of you in Miami. I'll probably see some of you online. And that's it. Jerry, take us out.
Bye.
Bye.
Yay.
Goodbye. Thank you.